Now that all the data is well styled, we can compose the map deliverable. First, zoom in to the sage grouse habitat. So I'm going to use the zoom in tool and zoom in real close. There we go. For the menu bar, I'm going to choose Project, New Print Composer, and I'm going to enter Lab 4 Sage Grouse Habitat as the Print Composer name. Inside the Print Composer, under the Composition tab, I'm going to choose ANSI A letter as my page size, and then scroll down and make sure that my export resolution is 300 dpi. Now I'm going to click the Add Map button, and I'm going to click and drag a box where I want my map to appear. There we go. And at this point you can see that it's close to what I have in QGIS Desktop, but not quite. So there's a few things we can do to synchronize it. One, we can click refresh to make sure it always has the latest view of the map. Two, with the map selected, I can click Item Properties, scroll down and select Set to Map Canvas Extent. You can see that's a little bit better. And then the other way I can do it is go into QGIS and I can just zoom in a little bit more, like that. And now when I go back to Print Composer, once again, click the refresh button, make sure it's up to date, go back over to Item Properties, do Set to Map Canvas Extent, update preview, and we're getting close. I'm going to drag this over just a little bit here. Update preview, refresh. So we just kind of work between these buttons here to get it to where we want it. And so I don't want to show the blue there. So once again, I'm just going to use the pan tool, just drag it over just a little bit so I don't see that. And now back in Print Composer, hit refresh. Well, go back to Set to Map Canvas Extent. There we go. And that looks decent for now. Okay, so now we're going to add a new label tool. So I'm going to click Add Label. I'm going to drag and create a box all across the top. This is going to serve as our title. And now that I have it there, over in the Item Properties, Main Properties, I'm going to enter Greater Sage Grouse Current Distribution. And then I'm going to scroll down and click Font. I'm going to make sure that I have bold and 36-point font selected. That'll make it really large. So when I click OK, you can see that it's quite a bit larger. Next, I'm going to choose Center for more horizontal alignment, and I'm just going to drag the handles here, just kind of align it in the center of my page. That looks good. Okay, so now we're going to add a legend. So I click the Add Legend tool, and I'll just drag a box where I want my legend to appear. So let's say about right here. And so it adds a legend for us. So in this legend, it's got two western states, right? It's got the western states that we added just for cartographic reasons, and then it has the state boundaries at the bottom. We don't want that. Also, we're not showing Mexico, so I'm going to remove Mexico. So to do that, with the legend selected, choose Item Properties, uncheck Auto Update, select Western States, click Remove, and choose Mexico, and click Remove. Now we can also make these classes a little more descriptive inside of the Print Composer. We could have also done this inside of the properties. So for instance, if I go back to the properties in QGIS Desktop with the federal land ownership, for the legend I can actually change the values here. But since I have auto updating turned off, it won't update those. But if I change it here, that's what will show up in the legend in the Print Composer. So I go back to the Print Composer. So instead, we're actually going to change them here. So I'm going to select BLM. I'm going to click the Edit button, and I'm going to change the name to Bureau of Land Management. Click OK. And I'm going to change all the others to match their names. So here we're going to do the Bureau of Reclamation military for, oops, did I miss? Oh, I hit the remove button, didn't I? Oops, let me click add. Oh, I can't do that. Well, let's see here. That wasn't good. So I'm going to have to add the federal land ownership back again. Remove this one. I can then drag this one up if I want to reorder them. And so once again, to change them, I can double click on it, which is a little bit faster. So I'm glad. I'm going to keep that in the video just to kind of show you how I recovered. And then for BOR, we're going to do reclamation. DOD will become military. FS will be Forest Service. FWS will be Fish and Wildlife Service. This will be National Park Service. And here we will just leave this as Other. Okay, so now we're going to add a neat line around our map. Well, first let me bring this over, make it a little bit smaller so we have some more room for the legend. And we're going to create a neat line. So to do that, I'm going to click the add shape and then choose add rectangle. And I'm going to drag a box around the map and legend. So we'll do something like this. There we go, that looks good. But of course it is completely white. So under the item properties for the style, I'm going to click change and simple fill. And for the fill style, I'm going to choose no brush. And I'm going to give it a border width of 1.0. There we go. Okay, so the last item to add to the map is the data source and date. Before I do that, I want to make sure that I lock the rectangle, because as you can see, as I try to click things inside the rectangle, it keeps choosing the rectangle. So over in the items tab, if I check the box under the lock, you can see that it locks it, and now I can no longer select it, and I can select things underneath it. So to add the metadata text, I'm going to use the add new label. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to drag a box, and I'm going to enter the National Atlas and U.S. Fish Wildlife Service date. So we're going to do the 18th, let's go September 18th, 2016. And now we have our metadata there. Okay, lastly, let's make the font Times New Roman 8-point font. So 8, and I'm going to scroll and find Times New Roman. I know it's in there somewhere. There it is. Click OK. There we go. Now we have our metadata. And so that's it. That's a real quick map. We can just continue to tweak it and make changes by moving the neat line or changing things around. When we're ready to get it out the door, we can export it as either a image, a scalable vector graphic file, or a PDF. So here I'm going to export as an image, and I'm going to save that in my lab directory, and I'm going to name it, let's see, lab for map.jpg. So then it asks me for my export resolution, which I'll choose as 300 dpi, and I'll click save. And that exports the map to disk. So let me see if I can bring it up here for you real quick. Lab for map.jpg. And I'll make it a little bit smaller. There you go. And so you can see there is our map.